Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'm glad that we can get back to the work that we're here to do, which is to represent the people of South Africa. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Mr. President, unemployment is often described as an economic issue, but what it really is harm to human dignity. Today, I remind this House of the declaration made 26 years ago. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of the past, honor those who suffered for freedom and justice, respect those who've worked hard to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. These words stand as a preamble to our Constitution, an intent of law, an indication of what is to follow. But much deeper than that, they stand as a promise that imagines in a caring South Africa that we fight for human dignity always, that in a booming South Africa, we all can dream and have a chance of making those dreams come true. Today, the youth of South Africa stand at the periphery of that promise, denied of their potential and their dreams, their talents ignored, their hopes destroyed, and their trust broken. I raise these experiences to show them what it feels like to be put first and to be centered in a debate like this. A generation that is victim to only one thing, an organization that has become destructive and cancerous for many young people, the ANC. Mr. President, it was only in 2018 where you stated that 800,000 jobs would be created by government. In 2019, you stated 1 million jobs would be created, and you did the same in 2020 and in 2021. Of course, we all know that these promises did not come into fruition because we became the highest country in the world with the highest unemployment rate. In this year's SONA address, you agreed with the DA that in fact it is not government's role to create jobs, but to enable the private sector to do so. However, the RET faction in your party does not seem to agree. One side says this, the other side says that. It's so deep that even the ghost that masquerades as the ANC Youth League today is just as confused as its mother body. The RET faction says government is failing across all sectors. The reformers say government is working. Again, one side says this, the other side says that. The call to support structural reform by supporting SMMEs, investing in infrastructure, and assisting the economy in creating new sectors is what we call in the DA clear blue water. I'm sure the President already knows what that is because he studied our manifesto. The DA welcomes the effort to expand the criteria for participation in the employment tax incentive. Since 2012, the DA has been calling for the ETI to be implemented by government. But to simply expand the ETI without proper thought of young people located in poorer provinces or who are less mobile or have no work experience would be a misstep. The DA has long called for a focus for the green economy and the blue economy, which are future sectors that have the potential to create employment. Mr. President, in your response tomorrow, may you please indulge the young people of South Africa by answering the following questions. 1, for young people who have small businesses and are struggling to get their products and their ideas out into shops like ShopRite, Spar, Fruit and Veg, what type of support will your government provide for these young people? 2, government has been silent on the matter of lowering data costs in South Africa after much promise. How far is government with this idea? What have they done to ensure that young people are able to lower data costs and ensure that we are able to link to the internet and be able to find jobs? 3, Mr. President, what attempts have been made to understand the failure of the presidential stimulus program, particularly because in the 2 years since its implementation, unemployment remains high amongst young people? Poverty is much more than a lack of access to resources. It is about being excluded from the levers of the economy. This is why in DA-run and DA-led coalition metros and municipalities, we are focused on closing skills gaps amongst young people because we understand that unemployment has a causal link with poverty and indignity. This is something that your ministers don't understand. Perhaps that is the reason you have decided to center a number of programs within your office, because your ministers, Mr. President, abasebenzi. But further than that, Minister Maite Mashabane must also resign. These commitments, Deputy Speaker, welcomed, remain just words without substantive action. As it stands, young people spend 1,300 Rand per month looking for jobs in this country. With the cost of living continuing to become more expensive, what comfort, Mr. President, do you have to ensure that these young people are able to find jobs in the near future? Mr. President, we must hold our values and our principles against the hard realities in this nation and see if indeed we are measuring up to the legacy of the forebears and the promise of future generations in this country. It is, Mr. President, the promise of the preamble of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. It's the promise that a young person who hopes to find a job and be able to support their families is possible. It's the hope that a small-scale entrepreneur who wants to grow their business will not be stifled by red tape, but will be able to grow their business in this country. It's the hope that young people's talents will not be lost or overlooked, but in fact, they'll be found and preserved and made sure that they grow in whatever career that they choose for themselves. It is about the audacity, Mr. President, to make sure that your words are backed up by action. And indeed, Mr. President, our hopes lie with the decisions that you will make to separate yourself from the RET faction and make sure that you take our country forward. Thank you.
Thank you.